My grandson vanished at a remote rest stop. Now he's calling me from under the ground. They have a word for what I am now. Unreliable. That's what the young constable, Price, wrote in his little notebook. Subject is elderly, distraught, and offering an unreliable account. I saw it upside down on his desk. They think my grief is making me crazy. They think the story I'm telling is a dream I had after my grandson wandered off into the scrub. They don't understand that the land was dreaming long before we were, and sometimes its dreams are nightmares. My name is Yindi, and my grandson Tarka is gone. We were crossing the Nullarbor, just the two of us in the old Land Cruiser. 10 hours down, with maybe 2 to go before we stopped for the night. The road is a hypnotist. A long, straight ribbon of black tarmac laid over an ocean of red dirt and saltbush. Tarka was asleep in the passenger seat, his head against the window, his small chest rising and falling. In his hand, he clutched a little witchetty grub he'd carved from a piece of mulga wood, smooth and pale, its segments carefully etched. His little treasure. My eyes felt like they were full of sand. I saw the sign for a rest stop and pulled over, the crunch of gravel under the tires waking Tarka with a jolt. He blinked at the vast, star-dusted sky. "Gotta go, Nana," he mumbled, his voice thick with sleep as he unbuckled and slid out of the truck. I watched him head for the toilet block. It was just a concrete bunker, squat and ugly under the blaze of the Milky Way. 2 dark rectangles for doorways, no doors. The air out there, it was different, thick, heavy. I felt a pressure in my ears. "Be quick, Tarka," I called out, a sudden chill crawling up my spine that had nothing to do with the night air. "This place feels wrong. Old business here." He just gave me a sleepy wave and disappeared into the men's side, into that perfect block of black. I leaned against the truck, looking out at the plane, trying to shake the feeling. My grandfather's voice echoed in my head from 50 years ago. "When the land goes quiet, you go quiet with it. Or you run." And then it happened. The sound of the night just switched off. The hum of insects, the rustle of the wind in the scrub, everything. Gone. The silence that fell was a physical thing. It was a weight, pressing in on me, stealing the air from my lungs. My blood went cold. A deep, primal dread clawed its way up from my gut. It was a feeling our people have names for. The feeling of being watched. The feeling of being prey. I whipped my head around, facing the toilet block. "Tarka." My voice didn't travel. It just died a few feet from my lips, swallowed by the oppressive quiet. My heart felt like it was trying to punch its way out of my chest. "Tarka," I screamed, his name tearing from my throat. Answormy stillness. The kind of profound, absolute stillness that means something is fundamentally wrong with the world. I ran, my old knees screaming, my boots skidding on the loose gravel. I fumbled for my phone, my thumb shaking too much to hit the torch icon. Finally, the beam cut through the dark, and I shoved it into the black maw of the toilets. The light danced over graffiti-scarred walls and a filthy concrete floor. And there, just inside the doorway, was Tarka's wooden grub. But it wasn't broken. It was changed. I bent down, my hand trembling as I reached for it. The moment my fingers touched it, I snatched them back with a hiss. It was stone cold. Not just cool, it felt like it had been pulled from a deep freezer. I picked it up. It was heavy, dense, petrified, turned to solid gray rock, and my grandson was gone. The sound I made wasn't human. It was a raw, wounded noise from the back of my throat. It was the sound of 100 warnings from my elders. All the stories I'd brushed aside as campfire tales, crashing down on me at once. They weren't stories, they were survival guides. And in that crushing, unnatural silence, with my boy's petrified toy in my hand, a name bubbled up from the deep, dark well of my memory. A name I hadn't dared to think in decades. The Munganngga, the trapper. The one that pulls you down. Now I'm in this cold white room in Port Augusta. Senior Constable Hargraves watches me with dead eyes, and the young one, Price, tries to look sympathetic, which is somehow worse. They have our community liaison, my cousin Darren, here to make it all feel less clinical, but he just looks as trapped as I feel. They turn their laptop towards me. The video is grainy, washed out in a sickly green night vision. There's my truck. There's me, a small, tired figure leaning against it. And there's Tarka, a little ghost scurrying into the dark rectangle of the toilet block. My breath catches in my throat, a painful, sharp thing. Then I see what my gut had already told me. 4 seconds after Tarka vanishes, something moves in from the edge of the frame. It's not a shadow. It's not a blur. It's a hole. A moving patch of pure nothing that glides over the ground. Where it passes, the pixels on the screen just die. There's no static, no distortion, just a perfect, shapeless void that moves with a terrible purpose. It flows over the gravel, silent and smooth as spilled ink, and pours itself into the same doorway Tarka went through. We went in to get him. "Yindi, we need you to focus," Hargrave says, his voice flat and patient. "Think. Was there another car? Did you hear anything?" "I felt it," I whisper, my eyes glued to the frozen image of that impossible void on his screen. The Munganngga. It came for him. It flowed right in after him. Darren shifts uncomfortably. Hargraves gives him a look. "The Munganngga," he repeats, chopping the name into ugly, powerless pieces. "Ma'am, what the camera shows is a data corruption. A glitch. We see it all the time with these remote cameras. We need something real. That is real." My voice cracks, thin and reedy. "It's older than your cameras, older than your roads. It took my Tarka and you're talking about a fucking glitch." Price leans forward, his face a mask of patronizing pity. "Auntie, is it possible you were more tired than you thought? Maybe you dozed off for a minute? Maybe Tarka wandered out the back, got disoriented? We just need to establish a factual timeline. They think I'm a stupid old black fella, a hysterical nan who lost her grandson and filled in the blanks with boogeyman stories. They are staring at proof of something ancient and hungry on their screen, and they call it a data corruption." I slam my hands on the table, the sharp sound making Price jump. You are not listening to me." I scream, my whole body shaking with a furious energy I didn't know I had. "IT has him. It has him out there in the dark and you're letting it keep him." They just stare, like I'm an animal in a cage. Darren drove me back to my niece's house. The air inside was heavy with quiet sorrow. My family was there. They didn't need a police report to believe me. My older brother, Jera, met me at the door. He took one look at my face, at the stone grub clutched in my hand, and his own face seemed to age another 10 years. "The Munganngga," he said. It wasn't a question. I just nodded, the fight draining out of me, leaving nothing but a hollow ache. "It's been sleeping a long time in this country," he murmured, his voice a low rumble. "The songs that kept it bound to its place, no one has sung them for generations. The land is forgetting the old laws." That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the back step, staring south towards the Great Plain, trying to feel something, anything, a thread of connection to my boy. And then I fell asleep right there on the step, and the dream came. It wasn't a dream. It was a visit. I was there. I was in him. I felt the suffocating pressure of damp earth all around me, the weight of the whole world on my chest. It was cold, a deep, wet cold that seeped into the bones. I could taste grit and minerals on my tongue. I could feel his small heart hammering away in sheer, unending terror. He wasn't dead. He wasn't even hurt. He was being kept, preserved in the dark. The Munganngga wasn't eating his body. It was feeding on his fear. The old stories were true. It could keep him like that for a long, long time. Aware, terrified, alone in the deep earth. I woke up with a gasp, drenched in a cold sweat, the phantom taste of dirt still in my mouth. The police have stopped listening. Their search is a joke. They're talking to Tarka's father, a useless drunk in Kalgoorlie, asking if he took him. They're looking for a person because it's the only kind of monster their small world allows. But I know what took him. And the dream. It wasn't just a nightmare. It was a map. I'm leaving now. The Land Cruiser is packed with water, fuel, and the things Jera gave me. A pouch of red ochre, a bundle of sacred Giji leaves, and the old fire-hardened Mulga spear that belonged to our grandfather. The tools for reminding the land of its own laws. I'm going back to that concrete bunker under the cold stars. I'm going to find where it went down. I'm going to sing the songs that will tell that old thing that this boy is mine and it has broken the rules. They see a grieving old woman chasing a ghost story. They're wrong. I'm a grandmother, and I'm going hunting.